Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to yet another video. Today, myself and Sophie are teaming up as we rank the championship stadiums for the upcoming 23-24 season. Like I say, we're going to be teaming up and giving both of our opinions and ultimately putting them somewhere on this tier list. Do let us know your thoughts on these stadiums down below. Please do make sure to comment down below your thoughts. Do hit that thumbs up button as we go for 471 likes on this one. Hit that thumbs up button and please do make sure to subscribe. 75% of you haven't, so please do get your championship fix by hitting the subscribe button. How are you doing, Sophie?
Yeah, very well, thank you. I'm actually looking forward to hearing your thoughts on some of these grounds.
Yeah, like I say, we've been to quite a few of them. I'd say we've actually been to most of them, and ones I haven't done, some of them you've done, and some that you haven't done, I've done, so we'll both have a good knowledge together on where to rank them. Like I say, it is opinions based. We're not just going to rank it on size, it's got to be a bit of character as well. Let's get in to the tier list. So then guys, let me run you through the tier list. We've got 1 to 6, 7 to 12, 13 to 18 and 19 to 24. Pretty easy to understand. We've got to basically rank them in order. Let's get started straight away with Hull City South. I've been to this stadium once and my memories on it are quite fond because when I went, Coventry City won 1-0. This is an interesting one. This ground represents Hull City and their struggles over recent years to me and protests, because when I went they were singing "Sacked in the Morning" to their manager. They've obviously also had good times at this stadium. They've seen a promotion there up from League One. They've been promoted from this ground up to the Premier League as well. I think it's a nice stadium. The capacity's about right. I don't think Hull City necessarily always sell it out, but then again Coventry don't sell theirs out, but we quite like the CBS. This one's all right, Soph. I think it's probably a championship stadium, somewhere in the middle.
Mid for me.
We'll start it off by being generous, putting it there.
Okay, yeah, but I do think it might drop one.
It might have to, but I think Hull City's ground it's just okay for me. Like not in an insulting way. It's nice. There is a lot that are worse than this, but it is a bowl at the same time, and we prefer the older stadiums to that. But like I say, we'll put it in the middle. Ipswich Town South, Portman Road. This is a pretty big one coming up from League One. Lots of history for this one. It's not a bowl stadium, so we do like it for that reason. They get very good crowds there, especially when they're in League One, which is very impressive.
I've seen that, week in, week out. It wasn't just like for the bigger games. It was week in, week out, consistently supporting their team, and I rate them for that. Never been though, so it's hard to judge it on that. Yeah,
the away end is on the side, sort of down the side, in an upper stand, I believe. But like I say, decent history with this ground, a very passionate fan base. I think we're going to put this in at 7 to 12.
Yeah, I will for now, actually.
I think it's better than Hull's, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is. If anyone's going to drop, it'll be Hull.
Yeah, I think we like Ipswich. We're going to put them there. Middlesbrough. So if we both went last season, I really like this one.
I did as well, actually. I thought like the atmosphere was good. I quite liked where we were in the away end, actually. It's a little bit different.
Can we put them straight up in 1-6?
I will. Yeah, I will.
Great away day. We went, was it last year, the first year you went?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, so we both went for the first time last year, and we went to the game where we drew 1-1 on the final day. And what was brilliant about the time when we went is we both knew we were going into the playoffs. It was like a party for both fans, wasn't it? Like,
there was no animosity either team. We were just both loving it.
Honestly, I've got this respect for Middlesbrough now, where I would like to see them get to the Premier League. I mean, they are a big club.
They are.
You know, they have a history of being in the Premier League. They're a successful club, and their fans are brilliant. Like just after the game, we were both staying behind, whipping our shirts around, having a party. Well, you weren't, but I wasn't. But the other fans were. Yeah. Really good away day. The away end's in the corner, which isn't the best, but ultimately big stadium. Yeah. They get good crowds there. Fantastic atmosphere. The Riverside. Yeah, you're in the top 6. Plymouth Argyle, Sophie. This one is going to be one of the smallest this season.
Yes.
It's an interesting one. It's got a push-pull factor on me because it's an interesting away day. The location, going down to Devon, Plymouth, by the seaside.
So far.
It is so far for everyone, especially the Sunderland fans. That's going to be a right mission. But you know, it's got its own character, and although it's not screaming out to be one of the biggest, it's got a decent atmosphere as well. What do you reckon? Yeah,
decent atmosphere. I'll give them that. However, I do kind of look at the ground and I think, is that championship level? I mean, obviously it is, but I don't know. It's going to have to be one of the lower ones for me.
for now, we'll put them in 13 to 18.
Oh, that's generous.
Maybe have to move them down because there are a lot of decent grounds in this division, I must say. But I want to try and give them some respect. We will try and get to Plymouth this season. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, you're driving.
Yeah, goodness me. Birmingham City South. This one for me, I have so many good memories with this ground because Coventry City played home games here. We saw promotion here. I've been away to this ground with Coventry and I've always seen a good game. Birmingham and Coventry always have a tight game. History-wise, good stadium. You know, goes back a few years, and I remember Birmingham playing in the Premier League at St Andrews. Recently,
it's falling apart.
The stadium's falling down.
It's falling apart.
Does that knock it down a bit?
It does, because it's a health hazard. So it's got to go in one of the bottom two.
I mean, what can you say?
This is the thing. So obviously we're going to be biased because as Coventry fans, we played at the ground and we played good football at the ground. And at the time, I actually preferred it than the Rico. However, since then it's kind of gone downhill a little bit. So I feel harsh sticking it in the bottom one, but half the stand was closed for a season.
It's so tricky, isn't it? I think there's good things with this one. Accessibility. It's in the middle of the country. Everyone can get there fairly easily. It's got good train connections and bus connections to everywhere. Birmingham as a city, that's a decent place if you want to go for the day. You know, if you want to spend a bit of time in Birmingham and then go to the ground. You know, plenty of places to go and have a drink. Their fans, very passionate, but like we say, if you can't get loads of fans in there, if you can only get a restricted amount in, it does knock it down a little bit.
One of the bottom two.
Yeah, sorry Birmingham.
Yeah,
we loved it. When you open this ground up, we'll move it up, but for now, there.
Yeah, just because you may die. There's a risk of dying. So.
Coventry City South, Coventry's ground. Now, the CBS, obviously we knew it as the Rico Arena before. Yes. This is an interesting one because obviously this is the one we've been to the most. I grew up here with the memories of Coventry being in League 1 and League 2, but this one's gone up in my estimations since we've been back recently in the Championship and we've been having better crowds. And just imagine if we've got to the Premier League, you know, this would be full pretty much every week. There is a slight element that this ground is too big for us.
It is.
If we got to the Premier League, you know, it wouldn't be so much of a problem because, you know, in the Premier League you get bigger crowds. But while we're in the Championship, we're never going to fill it out every week. Good atmosphere in Singers Corner. I feel like we're very generous with the away allocations that we give.
Yeah.
And we put them behind the goal. I think a lot of people probably enjoy this away day. Do we go 7 to 12?
We do. I think with the Ricos, we're out for the away fans. There's not much nearby, like in terms of pubs. You can't access the casino after the game, which is a bit of a bummer for them. For so many years, it has been a soulless bowl, but for recent couple of years, the atmosphere has got going, and obviously we've got bigger crowds now. Singers Corner as well is obviously going to carry it up further in the table. So for me, 7 to 12. If I wasn't a Cov fan, I'd probably have it lower.
Maybe. I'm going to put it behind Ipswich and in front of Hull. Blackburn Rovers South, Ewood Park. I went to this ground a season or two ago and it was a great game, 2-2. But one thing that did really disappoint me is the home fans. Maybe the most disappointed I've been at a Championship away day, actually. Big stadium, stooped in history, Ewood Park. Blackburn Rovers won the Premier League 28 years ago, but this ground was half full. And although the Blackburn fans that were there tried to make a bit of noise, it seemed so empty, and that really knocked it for me.
Yeah. As you say, it's a ground with so much history, so it should be up there, but the atmosphere does make it on the day, so that's got to have an impact on the score here.
One of these two for me.
Yeah, 13 to 18. I can't have it in the bottom.
Let's put them ahead of Plymouth, to be fair. The attendances knock it down for me. Bristol City South, I really like this one. I feel like I'm going to be very generous and say I want it in the top 6. Now, when I went a few years ago, it was before they did redevelopments to it. You've been recently, and it's nice, isn't it? The new stand and everything. Yeah,
so do you know what? I've been in the home and the away end last season, and I actually thought that the concourse was really nice in the home end. Loved it in the away end, but also what was nice around the ground. It's almost like when you go to Wembley and you've got like little fan zones. It was a little bit like that, and that made it a much better experience for me.
I think Bristol City fans are very...
7 to 12 for me.
Oh really?
Got what, higher?
I think Bristol City fans are very passionate, and I'm not saying this is the best ground in the league, but I feel like I could maybe sneak it into 6th place. I don't know. I haven't been for about 8 years, so I haven't been since it's been redeveloped. I do want to go this season, and can we just put it in there for now?
Go on, you can put it in there for now, but yes. I feel like I'm going to move it.
Bristol City, we're being generous for now. Sunderland, Stadium Light, it's got to be in there.
Top 6 straight away.
Yeah, let's put them right at the top there. I've been to this ground a couple times. It is fantastic. There's so many good things you could say about it. The capacity, 49,000. And the good thing is Sunderland get good crowds as well.
Yeah.
It'd be silly if they had a massive ground and they didn't get good crowds.
Empty, yeah.
Sunderland, it's just fantastic how it's not the biggest place in the world, Sunderland. I think there's a population of about 250,000, maybe something a little bit less or higher than that. But the crowds they get for the football, they love their football there. They get lots of fans, they make lots of noise. The only qualm with this one is they put the away ends up in the gods, so you're kind of watching Sabutio from up there because you're so far away. But so much going for this ground. It's the biggest in the league, but it is one of the best in the league at the same time. It's going in there.
Yeah, no questions about it. I've not even been to the ground, and for me it's top 6, so I need to get to that one.
Right, Cardiff City South. This is actually one of the, I think it's the 5th biggest in the league, but it's got a capacity of 33,000, but a bit like with Coventry and Blackburn that we've mentioned, they don't really fill it out. No. They have got some decent fans at Cardiff. I feel like they can make a decent noise. They do put the away fans in the corner, which isn't great.
Yeah.
I don't know, just because of how many seats are left empty, I think we're going to have to put it somewhere in the middle, maybe.
Middle towards bottom for me. I've been, and maybe, it wasn't very pleasurable. I mean, the game itself wasn't great, but also their fans were just silent all through the game. So it's not a bad ground, as you say. It's a big ground. It's a nightmare walking to the away end, though. It's a bit confusing. For me, not that impressed by it. I wouldn't rush back.
Oh, okay. Millwall, the Den. I've been to this one once, and when I went, I was anticipating the sort of the best, most scary atmosphere in the country because it's built up to be that. And when I went, it was like the Millwall fans were good, but it wasn't like the best atmosphere I've ever seen. But then again, Millwall v Coventry in the middle of the season, I don't think it's going to have the best atmosphere. No. I think if you go to Millwall v another London team, say if you go to Millwall v Leeds this season, that would be chaos because they're both really, passionate fans. I like this stadium though. I think it's a good size. It's not a bowl stadium, so that definitely bumps it up a little bit. Atmosphere, history. I just think the thing that misses it out on a top 6 is it doesn't have enough of a. It isn't massive. I think it's about 20,000 or so. I think we can put it in the 7 to 12 though.
Yeah, I'd put it in there, to be honest.
Let's put it there. That's 7th place for now.
Yeah.
Norwich South, Carroll Road.
I like it again with that kind of ground. Not a bowl, so again bonus points. Decent set of fans and good away day, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think they've got enough to be top 6, but 7 to 12 for me. God, everyone's going 7 to 12.
Yeah, maybe we can sneak it in there later in the video. Okay. I think this is it's a nice stadium. It's sort of green and yellow colour scheme. It is a bit of a mission to get to, but you can make a day of it in Norwich, I suppose. Yeah, I'm intrigued to see Norwich versus Ipswich next season.
Yeah.
The Norwich fans, when they came to Coventry this year, we must give them a lot of credit. They were some of the best we've seen.
Yeah.
The only thing that disappointed me a little bit is I remember, I don't know if they still got it, but they certainly did have goal music at this stadium, which is a bit of a tin pot thing to have. Yeah. But like you say, there's history with this ground. It's a decent capacity. They always sell out their season tickets, by the way. Yeah. Ridiculously loyal. Do you know? Can we sneak it in there for now?
Okay, go on.
Should we say it's better than Bristol?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Let's put it there. Sophie, Preston, Deepdale, have you been to this?
No, and I'm not going, not as a Cov fan, because we've got a horrific record there, so you can't pay me to go.
Can we put it down the bottom for that reason?
For that reason alone, they go to rock bottom, 24th. No, not a bad ground.
Yeah, this ground screams history.
It does.
As Coventry fans, we don't like this ground because Coventry have never won here in the league, so we're tempted to put it down there. But no, it's probably a championship stadium.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that.
So maybe in the middle?
Yeah, middle for me.
I think we could put it in front of Hull.
Yeah, I'd put it in front of Hull.
Queen's Park Rangers, Soph, have you done this one?
I have, and you love this one, don't you?
This is probably the one we're going to have the biggest disagreement on, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's an absolute nightmare to get to.
I love it. I think you... do you know what's going to make a difference here, though? When you went, we lost 2-0. When I went, we won 3-0.
That makes a big difference.
Like, you compare it on the result, I suppose.
But were you top tier, lower tier?
I was lower tier.
Yeah, I was lower tier as well. But literally, where my eyes were, the crossbar was. So I was literally like, right, what's going on? So
if I'd have been able to, I'd have got a ticket in the upper tier. I feel like the view would be better. But I was in the lower tier, and I get your point that you're very low down, so you're kind of looking over the backs of people's heads.
Prices as well for that.
Yeah.
So that's going to have like a bit of an impact on the score.
But I think there are seats which are restricted view as well, though. So that's why some tickets are cheaper. I like this ground. I don't think it's one of the biggest. I don't think the leg space is particularly amazing. I don't think it's trying to be one of the best in the league.
No.
But I think it's a very nice middle of the range one.
Yeah, I'll go middle. It's not going to be bottom for me.
I'm going to put it in front of Hull. I think this one's got to go in the top 6, Soph.
Yeah,
Sheffield Wednesday,
away, top
Hillsborough.
6.
Sheffield Wednesday fans obviously hate Sophie at the moment because Sophie predicted them to be relegated this season. But let's try and make amends, Sophie. Hillsborough, what a big, brilliant stadium.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know if I want to go now. If you're going to be nice to me, I might go. But
Sheffield Wednesday fans are coming to get you.
Honestly, big ground. It was way too big for League One. Everyone knew that.
Ridiculous.
It is, for me, a championship ground, and the fans are great. I think the atmosphere is good there, and I feel like it will be again this season. Should be even better, to be honest. And it's got to go top 6 for me.
I agree. I think this is Championship leaning towards Premier League ground. History galore. This is where they used to play FA Cup semi-finals. You know, so much history there. I love the clock at the top of one of the stands. Brilliant. The size of it, the passion of the fan base. It's got to be in there. And I'm going to say next to Sunderland. I'm going to put it there.
Okay.
Let's get to this ground next season, Sophie. We're going to Hillsborough. Come on.
We'll see you there.
We'll see you there, Sheffield Wednesday fans. Stoke City, Sophie, have you been?
I've worked there. So I've not been as a fan, but I've worked in the ground a good few times now. You know the saying, like, can you do it on a cold night? Tuesday night in Stoke. It is so cold. Even on the concourse, the wind just whips round and it is brutal. The fans, though, they were loyal to a fault, so you can't take anything away from them, although they're quite negative. So it's not much positivity. Like when you're there as like a home fan, you're not like, oh, Stoke game. It's almost like a chore, like they've got to go. I would like to go as a fan as well. It's going to be obviously a completely different experience. It is a nice ground, but for me, it's not one of the top ones. The fan base is behind the goal. Got a few things going for it. The passion of the Stoke fans, they can be pretty rowdy at times. I think they were some of the best we saw at Coventry this season. Yeah. I think we're going to put it 7-12 and maybe move Hull down now. Okay, yeah.
It's time Hull City were relegated.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Sorry. Watford, Soph. Have you done Vicarage Road?
I've not.
I've done it. When I went, we lost 3-0 in the Cup a few years ago when Watford were a Premier League team, and the Coventry fans made so much noise. We were singing Twist and Shout in the away end for like half an hour. This ground's nice. I think it is middle of the range Championship for me, although they were a Premier League team a couple seasons ago. The design of it's all right. I think outside the stadium's not bad actually. I quite like the walk to the ground. The Watford fans were okay when I went. I'm sure they could be quite passionate at times. This is a tricky one. I do like the fact that the away end's behind the goal. You know, you can get quite a few away fans there. Maybe we're gonna have to put it in 7-12. What do you reckon? Or just outside? I
think just outside, maybe 13th for me, just because the atmosphere isn't amazing. So, whereas other grounds, it kind of carries it a little bit. For me, that's why they're going to...
I think as well, 13th. What I will mention is that this ground isn't one of the biggest in the league. It's about 20-something thousand. And I've seen it on many occasions in the Championship where there's plenty of empty seats.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, hang on a minute, this isn't even one of the biggest. How have you got empty seats? Huddersfield, Soph, you done this one?
I've done this one.
Do you like it?
It was all right, actually. I wouldn't say it was amazing, but yeah, day out as a whole is all right. We parked quite far and had a nice little walk up. I think we walked through a bit of a park to get there, so that was nice. But for me, their fans were very, very quiet, so it's not going to be anywhere near the top. I might even be tempted to stick them in the bottom.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, not for the ground, but for like the atmosphere. The ground itself was quite nice. I didn't mind it, but...
Ooh. Yeah. This is a weird one. Like... I quite like the look of this ground. I quite like the design of it. I think Huddersfield fans can be quite good. A lot of the time when I watch on TV and I see Huddersfield Stadium, one of the ends, the end opposite the away end, down the other end behind the goal, never seems to have many fans in it. If anything, it's closed. Yeah.
Go on, you can place it.
No, do you know what? You've been and I haven't, so maybe down there in front of Birmingham, because Huddersfield's isn't falling apart. Yeah. So, Ellen Road.
Oh, God. There's no room in the top 6.
There is. There's a space there.
That's space.
Yeah.
Right, it's going to have to occupy it, because Ellen Road, the history, the fans, what a ground.
Yeah, I don't know where to put it. I mean, these four for me are the
Maybe
top
second.
four. Yeah,
Second,
Sunderland,
third.
Leeds, Wednesday, Middlesbrough are my top four.
Yeah.
You could put them in any order. But yeah, Leeds, Ellen Road, history, just fantastic fan base as well. Holds 38,000, something like that, marching on together. The away end is in a decent bit. I think it's down the side in the corner, but like I say, a lot going for this stadium. It's more of a Premier League stadium than a Championship one.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's put it there. Rotherham, South. This one was the worst away day of my life. When we went
And mine. 4-0.
When we lost 4-0 at this ground and everything went wrong, I really didn't like it.
I developed a hate for Rotherham then.
Yeah, I did.
It's not their fault, but it was deep rooted.
I know. Yeah, do you know what? This is actually a nice ground when you think about it. It's the design of it, the size of it. It's just right for Rotherham. As I say, with the design of it, there's like it's sort of the roof goes down like that. I quite like that about it. The away ends behind the goal as well. We'll give it points for that. I'm not going to say it's the worst in the league, but it maybe just what is it, about 11, 12,000? Maybe it does just sneak into the bottom six.
But yeah, and for me as well, like, the atmosphere wasn't amazing. And when I went last season, a lot of the fans were leaving before half time, like a hell of a lot. I think it was even about like 70-minute mark.
Oh, really?
For me, I just don't really rate that. So.
Okay, so have you been to the King Power?
Again, another one I've worked, but not been as a fan. You've been, haven't you?
Yeah, I went last season. I was lucky enough to go sort of in the players' lounge because a friend of mine, Ben, is brothers with James Maddison, and it was a really interesting experience, I must say. One thing I will mention for Leicester City, to be fair, because we mentioned it for Fulham in the Premier League video yesterday, is clappers. I don't like clappers. But one thing Leicester City's ground does scream, even though it's relatively new because they used to play at Filbert Street, the King Power screams history already. It screams a team that came up from League One to the Premier League and won the Premier League. It's going to be really interesting to now see a team that won the Premier League in the Championship 7 years later. But yeah, nice stadium, similar to Coventry's in size. The away fans are in the corner. They'll probably get 28 plus.
Oh,
do you know what? They might even sell out. I'm not sure what to expect from their crowds, but it'll be pretty high.
Yeah, they are going to have to go in that for me. Again, not top six, but can't have them any lower than that.
Who do we move down? QPR?
QPR, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, QPR.
So right, I'll join you in a minute.
Three more. We're going to have to shuffle things a bit because these three can't definitely all be in the bottom three. Southampton, St Mary's. Did you go last year?
I did. Was it last year or the year before?
The FA Cup.
The FA Cup. I think it was last year, beginning of last year. Yeah, do you know what? It's not a bad ground. It's not too far from the city centre, so you can go have a few drinks and then literally just walk up.
Do you know what?
Fans, it's hard because it's an FA Cup game, so the atmosphere is obviously going to be different. But with Southampton, for me, it's a pretty good ground.
Yeah, I almost feel like because it's a bowl, it's almost like a red version of Leicester Stadium. There's not much between them other than the colour scheme. In terms of size, 32,000 or so, just right for Southampton. A city with a pretty decent fan base. I think that this is definitely going to be in the top 10 for me. Let's put it next to Leicester. I think, like you say, they'll probably have decent atmosphere at times next season. We're all going to have to move everyone down as a result. Sorry, Stoke. Sorry, Plymouth. It's just the way it is. But yeah, Southampton's ground is a nice one, St Mary's. Swansea, South, the Liberty.
Getting any easier.
Have you been?
I've not, no.
I've been, and I like this one. When I went, it was a few years ago in the Checkatrade Trophy, actually. So it wasn't actually when Swansea had a full crowd, because I watched Coventry play Swansea's under-21s. What I can do is judge the stadium. I can't really judge the fan base because there wasn't many fans there. The stadium is nice. It holds just over 20,000 or just around 20,000. Sort of Lego looking, the colour scheme of it and everything. The away end's behind the goal. I think this one's a nice one. Maybe in the middle somewhere?
Yeah, go on. Behind Watford.
Yeah, we can put it there. Sorry, Cardiff, their big stadium have gone down there. Yeah, Swansea's all right.
We're about to go down because West Brom aren't. West
Brom, the Hawthorns. This is a stadium I've been to maybe the most after Birmingham and Coventry's, because I went a few times as a kid because I had a friend, Aaron, who's a West Brom fan. I've been in the home end, I've been in the away end. This ground screams history. It's a nice stadium, passionate fan base, quite accessible for most people. You know, it's in the Midlands, it's not far from Birmingham. What do you reckon? What was your thoughts on it?
Do you know what? I liked it actually, and I thought the atmosphere was very, very good. And when I went, like, obviously when they scored, you're right next to the fans. Like, there's virtually no segregation whatsoever, and yeah, you feel like you've been to like a proper football game, if that makes sense. So yeah, for me it's gonna have to be not top 6, but it's going to have to be higher end of mid-table. It is a championship
Who are we going to relegate?
I don't know. I'll send Preston down to the next one.
Preston can go down because Coventry never win there.
To do that.
And who do we get rid of from here? Blackburn?
Oh no, I'm just going to have to be Hull because I can't see Blackburn.
Hull started off the video in 7 to 12.
I know, I'm so sorry.
Oh, what a disastrous ending for Hull City.
Do you agree with it though?
Do you know what? Looking at that, I don't disagree with much of that. I think, yeah, that's all right. What do you reckon?
It'll do.
Yeah, it will do. So then, guys, that wraps up today's video. Do let us know your thoughts down below. It is totally opinions based. You can't really be offended by this. Just give us your thoughts down below.
Sure you will be.
Do make sure to hit the like button and do make sure to subscribe. Thank you for joining me, Sophie.
Thank you.
And we'll see you all in the next one. Peace out!